on the Electric Playground, we don our party hats with a preview of Project X and The Sims 3 Showtime. MLB 12, the show is hitting another one out of the park, and the story of Mass Effect 3 is heading out of this world.
In today's show, I've got the sonar you've been waiting all week for because it's the downloadable and handheld game sonar.
And the fighters of Tekken are entering the world of Street Fighter for hyper combos galore. Welcome to the Electric Playground, the show that gives you the latest in everything cool every single day. I'm your host, Briana McIver, and we're going to pull the lid off the Ark of the Covenant today in the rundown, so let's get started. If you want the 3 good Indiana Jones movies on Blu-ray, you'll have to buy the bad one too. Paramount has officially announced that all of the Indiana Jones films are coming to Blu-ray this fall. They'll be available in one complete box set, marking the HD debut of the original 3. The set also includes the much-maligned 4th installment, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was already released on Blu-ray back in 2008. And no, you won't be able to buy the films individually. It's all or nothing.
Trust me.
Plenty of bonus content will be included on the discs, and we'll excavate more details in the coming months. The new Facebook game Marvel Avengers Alliance has finally arrived. It's a tactical, turn-based combat RPG where players control the most iconic S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, including Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and Hulk. There's also a player versus player mode where you can challenge your Facebook friends. You can find links to Marvel Avengers Alliance on electplay.com, and don't forget that the Avengers movie will assemble in theaters on May 4th. And gamers may be able to take control of the man who created most of the Avengers. Speaking with Addict of Fiction, comic book icon Stan Lee revealed that he'll be a playable character in the new game based on the upcoming Spider-Man movie. There's a chance that he was just joking, so we'll let you know if it gets confirmed. The Amazing Spider-Man will swing onto consoles on June 26th, just before the release of the film on July 3rd. PC owners can finally start playing with Microsoft's latest computing innovation. A free consumer preview of the new desktop operating system, Windows 8, is now available to anyone who already has a copy of Windows 7. The new OS incorporates many features from Microsoft's mobile phone software and is designed for use with touchscreens. Go to electplay.com for links to try it out. The full version of Windows 8 will be available this fall. And we finally know when Bioshock Infinite will come crashing down to Earth. The new game will land in North America on October 16th and arrive everywhere else on October 19th. Bioshock Infinite is the first game in the series that doesn't take place in the underwater city of Rapture and instead brings players to Columbia, a city floating in the clouds. You're sent there to rescue a young woman with strange Bioshock-style powers, and you'll have to battle plenty of enemies. We'll have more on Bioshock Infinite as the release date approaches.
That is an oath you cannot keep.
One of the makers of Chronicle has a cool new science fiction project in the works. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Chronicle producer John Davis has picked up the big screen rights to the futuristic short film Archetype. It tells the story of a military robot who malfunctions in the middle of a battle with vivid memories of once being human.
We didn't design you to be able to do that.
It features plenty of drama and sci-fi action. The original director is set to helm the feature-length adaptation. And the new 3D version of James Cameron's Titanic will set sail a little early. Special sneak previews of the film will be held in theaters on Monday, April 2nd in Canada and Tuesday, April 3rd in the United States. Attendees will get a special pair of collectible 3D glasses along with a limited edition lithograph with artwork from the film. You can find a complete list of participating venues on electplay.com. If you can't make it to the sneak preview, Titanic 3D will hit theaters everywhere on April 10th, marking the 100th anniversary of the real ship's maiden voyage. James Cameron is also working on a pair of sequels to Avatar, the first of which will take audiences back to Pandora in 2014. And there's a ton of other cool stories over on our website at electplay.com, including a look at the fishy new film Piranha 3DD. And if you enjoy that sort of thing, then you probably like things that are over the top. So here's a look at Street Fighter X Tekken.
Part of the reason why there's a lot of people here at the Capcom booth is for Street Fighter X Tekken. You've got fans of Street Fighter, you've got fans of Tekken coming together in one massive game. There's got to be some sort of gameplay balancing between the two very different types of fighters. How's the gameplay in this one?
Honestly, it's a little closer to a Street Fighter, but we've done a lot of things to bring in the Tekken guys. Obviously, in addition to the characters, we've got ways to execute the traditional Tekken combos in your 4-button style. And we've also incorporated the tag mechanic from Tekken Tag, which means you've got 2 partners, and if either one of them gets knocked out, you lose the round. So we're grabbing some elements from Tekken, some elements from Street Fighter. Of course, it's a Capcom game, so we're going to give the Street Fighter guy a little more love, but it's an evenly balanced game overall, and people are just having a ton of fun with it. Really easy to pick up, one of the easiest Street Fighter games to pick up in history.
Capcom is, of course, no stranger to doing versus-style games. You've got Marvel versus Capcom. That one is huge. That series is going on for a long time. In those games, though, it seems like the fighting is more frenetic and crazier than any Street Fighter game. What's the fighting like in this one?
If you look at a traditional Street Fighter as like a baseball, sort of a more austere game, and Marvel is more like a basketball, a little bit more action, Street Fighter X Tekken is somewhere in the middle there, where it's a little bit faster paced and looser than like a traditional Street Fighter. Definitely not as much as Marvel, but somewhere in the middle. So you can do chain combos and just tap out combos to begin with, and that's really easy for a lot of players to pick up.
For a lot of old school Street Fighter fans and players that got really good at the game back in the day on the arcade, they're used to different types of timing and super crazy combos that take a lot of skill to pull off. Are those still in here?
Very much so. So we try and make sure that our games are open to new players. So if you're somebody who hasn't played a Street Fighter before, you can pick up and jump in and have a good time with it. But we design them ultimately to have that depth. So it's not hard to do the moves anymore, but knowing when to do the moves is actually the whole strategy. It's not just being able to do them, it's knowing the timing and the back and forth. But we build the games around that, so there's a ton of depth in Street Fighter X Tekken, but the moves and things like that are a bit easier to do for a new player.
How many characters will we get to choose from?
I'll say this, any game that's ever had the word Street Fighter associated with it, this is one of the biggest casts we've ever had. So I think people are going to be very happy. It's going to be a great roster overall.
The game arrives on consoles next week. The PC version will follow in May, and there's also a PS Vita version, but details on that have yet to emerge, so we'll have to keep you posted. And stay tuned, because after the break, the party will continue with a look at Project X. Welcome back to the Electric Playground. Jose sure knows to party, and that is exactly why we sent him to interview the cast of the crazy new party film, Project X.
All right, 30 people, okay? 30 people? All right, okay, 50 people, absolute max.
Fine. 50 people, absolute max.
All right, guys, tell me about this journey that is Project X, a film of a higher caliber than any film I've ever seen.
Well, Project X is like the 10 Commandments of party movies, you know? He's Charlton Heston and we're the disciples and we're just rocking out, partying.
It's my birthday today.
You should definitely swing by. It's on Dickens Street.
That's your party? You guys are throwing that? That's where I'm going. I heard it's too crazy.
Cool. So what was it like for you guys getting to film a movie like this?
Filming a movie, period, is
quite the honor.
I mean, I feel lucky. I feel lucky to be a part of any movie. I felt really, really lucky to be in this movie.
It was cool just to be a part of it, just because of the people involved. It was a huge thing for all of us. So
yeah.
I think we were kind of all jumping off from the same point and could kind of share that. And then, you know, Nima, the director, was his first movie too. So we all, you know, we were all kind of in it together.
Just big enough to be cool.
So talk to me a little bit about Thomas Cub and his epic birthday party.
Well, Thomas, he's a good guy. He's pretty, he's, you know, reserved, kind of innocent, a little bit naive, and he's pushed sort of into having this party by, you know, the instigator of the group, Costa.
I just don't really see the point anymore.
How do you not see the point? There's the point. There's the point.
Okay.
There's 2 more points right there. It's all around you.
Dude, I get it.
He's on board until, you know, up to a certain point. Like, he only wants to have, you know, a certain amount of fun. He wants everything to kind of be planned out. But as parties go, they just don't ever end up the way that you want them to.
Well, we just wanted to call one last time before going to bed to make sure you were all set for the night.
Yep, all good.
And what was it like being Costa, this huge party handler, and having to go out and make this thing happen?
Well, you know, shooting that and being that character in a movie was like so much fun. I had you know, it was always fun to be that character. You know,
He gets to be so mean to everybody and not feel guilty afterwards.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's really fun. It was a lot of fun to film that, you know, to be that character. To the break of dawn, yo!
And being JB, the party animal.
I really had a blast because my character's kind of the one that kind of goes along with the party and just goes in head first, even though he's the more reserved one. And so it's really kind of fun playing that weird mix of just like awkward penguin and party animal.
What are you looking for?
Condoms. I'm working on something downstairs.
The only thing you're working on is diabetes, you fat.
You can join the Project X party in theaters this weekend, and if you thought that looked like one crazy house party, wait until you see what Xbox has planned. Here's Shaun with the sonar.
The fun of the Xbox Live Arcade house party is continuing with a game that looks like it's hard to pronounce, but it isn't. It's Nexus. This arena first-person shooter is powered by CryEngine 3 for some intense firefight moments. Join the centuries-long war between two rival factions and make use of over 100 dynamic mutators to change up gameplay. Though designed for competitive play, you can also choose to practice against bots before testing your skills in online play. The Nintendo 3DS eShop has been bringing us quirky, worthwhile gaming experiences, and with the release of Dylan's Rolling Western, we'll see if that trend is likely to continue. Dylan isn't your typical Western hero. He's an anthropomorphic armadillo tasked with defending the Western villages from enemies who are feeding on livestock. Use your best tower defense and action gaming skills in this one and show those rock bad guys how to roll. With the PS Vita still new and shiny and coming off a huge launch week, things are settling down just a little bit, but Army Corps of Hell already has some new DLC for it, the Pumpkin Equipment Set. Command your goblin armies to destroy your enemies, thus restoring control of Hell over to, well, the King of Hell. The Pumpkin Equipment Set is just one of several planned DLC releases for this game. Expect the Frog Equipment Set in March and the Bunny Ears Equipment Set just in time to celebrate Easter. Yes, in Hell. Don't lose your head over this, but if you loved Never Dead and can't get enough of it, more dismembering fun is to be had with Never Dead Expansion Pack Volume 2. If you're thinking it's time to move on from our hero Bryce, this DLC includes a new character for you, Chief Sullivan. Also included are new challenges like Egg Hunt, Fragile Alliance, and Onslaught. And just so Bryce doesn't feel too left out, there are 2 new costumes for him to wear in the game's online mode.
Bryce Boltzmann, we've got work to do.
Not all fantasies are final. In fact, the people at Square Enix keep giving us more to experience in their Final Fantasy series, and the latest expansion for Final Fantasy 13-2 is now here, and it's all about Saws. Yes, Saws from Final Fantasy 13 has returned in a story that runs parallel to the events of Final Fantasy 13-2. Upon finishing the story, you'll have the option of adding Saws to your party in the main game. The download also gives access to 2 new card games, Chronobind and Serendipity Poker. And with new hardware being all the rage, it's nice to see the DS still getting some love from the folks at Atlas, who have just released Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2. That's it for the sonar, but we've got more EP coming up after the break, so stick around.
Coming up after the break, we round the bases with MLB 12, the show, and head around the galaxy to battle the Reaper invasion with the story of Mass Effect 3. You have returned to the Electric Playground, and if you want to know how the stories behind your favorite BioWare games like Mass Effect 3 get crafted, then listen up.
I'm here with Mac Walters, lead writer and all-around awesome dude on the Mass Effect series. He wrote Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that are involved in writing the 3rd installment in such a vaunted series.
Yeah, I mean, we knew we had our, challenges set for us after Mass Effect 2. It was received very well. And here at BioWare, we're not very much for sitting back, resting on our laurels. So we wanted to be able to really push it. Of course, some of the biggest challenges is all the choices that the players could have made in the past, finding a way to bring those all back and having consequence and meaning, but also being able to weave still a fantastic story around all these different variations.
I'm Commander Shepard, Alliance Navy.
Are you here to kill me? One of the amazing things about the Mass Effect series is that it appeals to sci-fi fans and genre fans, but it also appeals to more casual gamers who are just looking for some, escapism. How do you guys strike that balance between the two?
A lot of what I believe makes Mass Effect as popular as it is are the characters. And for those characters, you can draw on anything. It doesn't have to come from sci-fi. It doesn't have to be anything from any particular genre. You can draw it from your own life. You can draw it from a book you read. People are drawn in by these characters who, yeah, they're superheroes and they're amazing, but there's something at the core of each of those characters that people can relate to. That's kind of the key of good storytelling, I think, is that there's somebody there who may be going through extraordinary circumstances that I can't relate to, but I can still relate to that individual.
Consider yourself reinstated, Commander.
Of all the characters in this series, do you have a favorite?
It's hard to say. It depends. I have favorites. So Garrus, I wrote in Mass Effect 1 and mostly wrote in Mass Effect 2, and I love seeing his evolution over the series because it's one of the first characters that I sunk my teeth into.
James, this is Garrus Vakarian. He helped me stop the Collectors. He's a hell of a soldier.
And then as far as just like a really fun sort of complex character, which I really enjoy writing, is the Elusive Man. And I think the reason I love him is because he's so morally ambiguous. His choices, his decisions, you can never quite pin it on. He's not really evil. He's definitely not good, but he's somewhere in between, and I just love that sort of, you never know where he's coming from.
Goodbye, Shepard.
So this is the final lap for the series where you guys have crescendoed and you left it all out on the table and it's all done now. I mean, how do you feel as a team now that it's all over? This has been 8 years of your life.
8 years is a long time to do any one thing, and I think there will be a huge sense of accomplishment that'll arrive eventually. You know, at this point, it still feels like it's not in the fans' hands yet, and I think that's when you really get that sense of we are done. You know, in the end, I really hope, and I sense that Mass Effect 3 especially, but the trilogy as a whole, has this possibility to be something that is far more memorable and indelible than anything that I've ever seen, just because of the experience we're giving you. A full-on trilogy with choices and consequences that carry all the way through it. I mean, that's my hope, for sure, and I think if we've done that, that's quite an accomplishment.
Only one thing is certain. If Shepard doesn't bring help soon, there won't be an Earth left to save.
You can defend Earth from the Reaper invasion when Mass Effect 3 arrives next week, and right now it's time for Shaun to step up to the plate and knock it out of the park.
MLB 12, the show, is nearly upon us. What are we getting in this version of the game that is updated from MLB 11, the show?
Oh, quite a bit. There's 3 basic main focuses that we wanted to hit on this year, and those are authenticity, innovation, and refinement. So every single thing that we put in the game this year falls under one of those categories. From an authenticity standpoint, we have what's called true broadcast presentations this year. And what we've done is we're really trying to blur the line between reality and what you see in our game. And what you'll see now is you'll see more natural camera cuts. You're going to see revamped cameras. You're going to see really dynamic commentary. So now you can't tell if it's real time or if it's a cutscene, because we're really trying to blur those lines. From an authenticity standpoint, we have true ball physics. The ball gains and loses energy like a real baseball would. And that starts with, you know, what happens when a ball makes contact with the bat. Well, moving on past that, we have full move support. We have move pitching. We have move batting. We have move fielding. And we have move base running. So you have this full smorgasbord of move support throughout the entire game. And all in all, when you add up all of the new features, all the new enhancements, all the new AI improvements, that list is well over 70.
That's a lot of new stuff. Is there anything that will be recognizable at all from the last year's game?
If you've played this game in the past, you've come to know and love, there's just something about the show, and we don't want to lose that. And one thing we've done this year is really open the game up to casual fans. The hardcore guys love our baseball game, but if you pick up and play it for the first time, it's a daunting task to play. So we really want to take a conscious effort and make the game a little bit more accessible. We've made the game just a little bit easier for those of you who are new to the franchise or haven't been playing it for as long as everybody else has.
What do you think people are going to really love about MLB 12, the show?
It's got to be the true broadcast presentations. It adds so much to the game. It makes the game look so much fresher. If you put the 2 games side by side, you might not recognize them. We're really trying to hit a home run with what we're doing with our broadcast presentation this year.
And right now, the only place for you to enjoy true-to-life broadcast feel is in the video games, because the regular Major League Baseball season doesn't kick off for about a month. Now stick around, because after this, it's showtime. Welcome back to EP. Showtime is the new expansion pack for The Sims 3, and it gives you a chance to become a star and share your journey.
Sims 3 Showtime is the latest expansion in the Sims franchise. What is Showtime all about?
Well, Showtime is all about sharing the story of your Sims' rise to fame. There's 3 new careers. You can be a singer, sort of like street performers. You start out, you do singograms, you go around, you sing on the street for tips with your guitar if you want. Then you go all the way up to auditioning for venues. You get bigger venues, things that are kind of based off some of the things you'd see here in LA. A similar thing for the magician. Magicians start out, perform for tips, birthday parties, things like that. And then as they go, they get more and more famous, you know, kind of David Blaine, Chris Angel. Then we also have acrobats, and acrobats are kind of the catch-all performers. They do mime, they do contortion, they do these really cool stunts with fire where there's a flaming ring and they dance around in it. It's pretty awesome.
You can't really talk about people in the entertainment business without talking about groupies and fans. How do groupies and fans play a role in this game?
For the first time ever, we've actually expanded upon the Sims crowds, so you can have these massive crowds when you reach a high level of your career. So you've got tons of fans who are screaming, they can throw stuff at the stage, they can cheer, they can boo. If you're a fan and you're going to one of these shows, you can do the same thing. I love throwing teddy bears at the stage. It's pretty fun.
On the next Electric Playground, we head to Mars with the director's perspective on the new big screen adventure, John Carter.
In the next episode of EP, I'm chatting with Trish Stratus about her role in Bounty Hunters, and it's going to be totally stratifying.
And coming soon to EP, we have a first look at the shooting and looting action of Borderlands 2. If you missed anything in the show or you just want to watch it again, you can visit us at g4tv.ca or go to our website at electplay.com. You can also follow us on Twitter under electplay and find us on Facebook under Electric Playground. Nickelodeon purchased the rights to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle franchise and plans to launch a new animated show and a new lineup of toys. If you head over to our website at electplay.com, you can check out a preview of the new collectibles, and I'll see you back here for more EP tomorrow.
After 25 years of making turtle toys and probably over 500 figures, we said, you know what, we're going to start over with everything brand new, fresh, and quite different. Over 36 new items. We'll have 33 new figures over the first 12 months. More articulation, more decoration, all new secondary characters as well as our 4 green guys. It's going to be a blast.